Oh boy.
Hey, Tom,
Yes, sir.
uh,
Can
did
you hear
did you? Where do you get your haircut?
me? Now, it's very funny that you asked because I just saw the
No,
notice
it's not. Yeah, it's not. I'm
that,
very sad about that.
that Tony has passed away. Yeah, the last time I was there, which was several months ago because I switched, um, the last time I was there, he was healthy as a horse.
I saw him on the 28th of May,
Right.
and according to the obituary, he passed on the 14th, and
Wow.
on the on the 28th, he was again fine, animated, and his normal
Yeah.
self.
Yeah. About 3 or 4 months ago, I started to go to a place in Chester, Connecticut, to get my hair cut. For no particular reason other than I was there once and she seemed like a nice person, and I think actually she did a better job, honestly.
Well, that's a long way to get your hair cut.
Not for me. I'm traveling all the time.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah,
Yeah.
point well taken.
Hi, Carol.
Hi.
Carol, you missed the tour on Sunday. Tom gave me unfortunately with that sidewalks, it was a pain in the whatever, but I got a mini tour of the proposed district.
Oh, good.
We didn't miss too many houses, my friend.
We also didn't reach many people.
No, we did not.
It's
I'll go.
frustrating. And
I'll go
yeah,
over
you're
the
right. You're right
numbers.
about sidewalks. It's
Yeah, yeah. We tried to position ourselves by driving the car to here and there. For the last 3 or 4, we just drove up the driveways. We got tired.
yeah. Some of those driveways have cameras.
That's all right.
Is Peter there? I see a name.
I saw the name. Yeah. I'm gonna get up and look at a map for a second.
We're not being recorded, but Carol, I understand that the the 12 acres, your new committee is going to weigh in on the.
You are being recorded.
We are being recorded, Eric. So
Okay,
we're gonna be quiet about that right now.
okay, sorry. Thank
That's all
you.
right.
Anyhow, the tour was great, and it gave me a really fine appreciation of the homes in the district. And all kidding aside,
Yeah, no, that was very good because I know him intimately because I walk up and down the street and I've been here for a long time. But it's very good to get that kind of walking tour view of what this place looks like. There's a lot of beautiful houses, right?
There are a lot of good houses. Yeah.
very very much so, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think we got any people said they would not be here.
I was just going to ask, is John going to be around?
I I didn't hear that he was not. That's all I know. time is it? 7:02. Come on. We need one more person, right?
I don't have anybody as attendees except for a public. I don't have anybody to bring over as panelist.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. I mean, it's just the 3 demolition delays for the, for this meeting, though.
John did not say he was not going to make it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah,
I was a little late sending out the invites, but
we
But
got
we
it.
got them.
yeah, you can always also go on through the town website and I just promote you over if I ever mishap again.
Yes, that's actually very good information, and I knew that and forgot about it, so thank you. So is Peter with us or not? I can't tell.
He's on.
Yeah.
I did ask him to unmute and I have sent the little show video, but if for some reason he's not coming in.
Okay. We may need it. There it is. Maybe. I'm going to look at my email and see if anybody is. Well, we're just going to have to wait a few minutes. Everybody enjoying summer so far?
Yes, so far so good. My daughter had a big wedding celebration on June 18th, so
Oh, that's exciting.
kick off the summer. And by the way, you may hear a dog barking here because I'm pet sitting for her while she's on her honeymoon.
I think that's reasonable. Where was the wedding?
Philadelphia.
Sorry?
Phil, congratulations, Carol.
Thank you.
Oh,
Congratulations.
that's Peter. Hold on. Hello? Hi, Peter. How you doing? We can't see you. You are, I think, the last time I looked, I think you were muted.
He's not there now.
Oh, and now we don't see you at all. Yeah, yes, yeah. It's the normal computer issues that anybody over 30 has, Peter. I have it every day of my life, so we're even.
Is somebody want to contact John or?
Yes, it should be there. We're gonna, if I could help you, I would, but I am technologically inept. No, we saw your name as a panelist, but you were muted on the for the audio, and all we could see was your name and no picture. Okay, you'll get there. We've been here before. Yeah, right? So, well, as it stands right now, we need you desperately because there are only 3 of us on this, and we need 4 for a quorum. So no pressure, but it actually, yeah, Denny Van Loo did that, I think, on our last meeting. Oh, there's John.
John's here.
Oh, good. All right.
Hi,
So
John.
keep trying, Peter, and we'll just wait. Well, you can enter as we keep going. All right.
Well, we're ready. We got our quorum.
So we're good. All right. Talk to you later. Bye bye. Hi, John.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yep. Are you home or in your car or?
I am home, but my computer's not working and I don't know quite why yet.
Here we are.
So far,
What a surprise.
yeah. For some reason it has no Wi-Fi connection all of a sudden.
But guess what? We see you and we hear you. So
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah. But we have four. Peter Clement is trying desperately to join us and having trouble.
Okay.
But I think we could. It's your call. It's 7:08. If you want to get going, we can with four people, I guess, right? But you might want to wait until you ironed out your computer troubles.
Well, mine isn't even allowing me to connect to a Wi-Fi, so something's really screwed up. I haven't quite figured out what it is.
But you have to be connected to a Wi-Fi if you're visible, right? What am I
Well, I'm
doing?
on my phone right now.
Oh, okay, got it.
So, but my network and internet options, Wi-Fi, for some reason is suddenly not one of them.
I get it.
So,
Been there and done that.
yeah. And of course, this sort of problem is not my forte.
Nor mine.
Why don't we give Peter a minute? Given that my issue, maybe Tom, if you want to run the meeting tonight, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
sure. No, I'll be happy to. No problem. You want me to start, John, or you want to keep working a little bit?
I'm not sure what else I can do at the moment because
All
I
right.
literally have no ability to connect to Wi-Fi.
I get it. Okay. No, I so understand. I have been there so many times.
Just remember, someone has to take minutes.
Yeah, it's going to be me because I refuse to ever let this go again. And I spent like way too much of a weekend catching up on old minutes a couple weeks ago, and I won't do it again. So I'm going to take the minutes. I may stop and ask who said what, just so I
No
get it
problem.
right. But thank you, Maria, for reminding me.
Again, remember, they don't have to be verbatim.
No, I know. I got it. Thank you. So I will call the Madison Historic District Commission meeting to order at 7:10 on June the 27th. And for the purposes of the recording, although I know it's a Zoom, we will all identify ourselves. I'm Tom Boyle.
Eric Berg,
Carol
John
Snow.
Lind. John Lind.
Okay. So we have four of us. I know Peter Clement is trying desperately to get into this meeting, and we'll just wait if he comes in. He can identify himself when he does. So honestly, there are only the agenda items are demolition delays only, and the first one is 63 Middle Beach Road West, which I just was looking at. There's very little information on the application documents. I don't know this house myself. I'm going to look it up a little bit, and I'm going to look up the Vision website information. I mean, it's a pretty typical beach cottage. I don't think it's seasonal. I think it's a year-round home. Not a small home either. I'm looking here. Give me a minute. I had it
It's
before.
listed as being built in 1897.
1897. I saw that. It's, of course, very sad to see these houses go. It is not in our district. There's not a lot we can do about this unless we have the I'm doing two things at once here, so bear with me. There we go. Yes, it is a 2,500 square foot house built in 1897, excuse me, Carol, 1897, with 10 rooms, 7 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, very typical waterfront beach cottage on 0.2 acres. There is a garage on the site. Don't know much else about it. I could pull up the old MLS. It was purchased in just according to public record says it was purchased in 2013 for $1,450,000, and they have decided now that they want to rip it down. The delay itself has only the bare minimum of information.
Any images?
Just described, there is an image on the application that is truncated, and then I have an image on Vision that I can share with you, I suppose, if I can figure out how to do it. Let's see, share screen. Screen 2. There it is. Share. I do it?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I'm getting good at this. Huh.
Unless there's something of historic nature, either inside or outside, that could be collected, where it seems to me we're just spinning our wheels on this particular property. But
Yeah, I understand that. And of course it's historic. It was built in 1897. It is a very typical beach cottage, probably started out seasonal and then was converted to year-round. We have absolutely no authority to do anything here. I'm not sure that it is of great architectural or other significance. I mean, I don't think it's worth it to make a big deal about this one, but I'm more than willing to listen to anybody that wants to.
Based on the photograph here, there's nothing particularly fascinating about this house.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else have a comment? Then I guess I will entertain a motion to take no action on this demolition.
I move that we take no option on this particular demolition.
Okay, Eric made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Carol seconded. The motion is that we take no action. All in favor of taking no action on this application, say aye.
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 That's unanimous. We will take no action, and we're done. Okay. So,
Yeah, one thing I
Oh, go
noticed is, what from this photograph is this: if this house is built in 1897, what we're looking at in the foreground in the photograph is probably a newer addition. Because
with the garage under, you mean, John?
yeah,
Yeah.
the garage itself wouldn't have been built like that in 1897.
Yeah, totally agree.
And so perhaps it's just the portion of the house that's furthest away in the photograph is the original house, and they added this addition to the north at some later date.
I'd be willing to bet you're right. Yeah, the picture on the application is from the side of the home, but it does show that addition coming
Mhm.
out with actually older windows on the addition, so that's interesting. But you know, it could have been an addition that wasn't a garage to begin with, and then became one.
Perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Very hard to know. We have such limited information on these things.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop sharing, or I'm going to stop sharing that. Okay, that's scary. I'm getting good at this. All right, and I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is another demolition. It is 47 West Wharf Road. And let me get rid of that, go to that. Don't mess it up, hold on. There used to be, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that when they had these demolition delays, there was like a little write-up or a little narrative on these that said, yes, this house is in terrible condition and it must be ripped down. We have quotes that indicate that it needs this, this, and this, but there's nothing on these applications.
No, they don't have to do that.
They don't have to, okay. fair
No.
enough.
There's just a checklist of things they need to,
Okay.
check off.
Got it. This house was built. It's on West Wharf, which is the road leading down to the beach. It is a 1960 home of just under 1,600 square feet. It is a ranch-style home. It is very typical to that particular neighborhood. It is not, again, particularly, in my opinion, historically significant or architecturally significant. And I mean, I'm happy to entertain any other information about it, but I can't find very much, to be honest with you. Let me look up the vision and see what they say.
What's the size of the lot, Tom?
I'll tell you. Good question. Hold on. Not-
Which one are we on?
We're on 47 West Wharf Road. It is the size of the lot. It was built in 1960, 1,592 square feet. It is a 0.26 acre lot. And it is a ranch style home that I've walked by probably 1,000 times. It was purchased in 2008 by the applicant for $695,000. This is just public record, so I'm just reciting it. And I can show pictures if you guys are interested.
Maria just did.
Oh. I don't have anything else to say about this house. Any comments?
Nope.
Nope.
I would entertain then another motion to take no action on this demolition delay.
So moved.
Carol made the
Second.
Carol made
Second.
the motion. Eric Berg seconded. All in favor of taking no action? Say aye.
I,
Aye.
It's unanimous. Aye. Sorry. And we will take no action on 47 West Wharf Road demolition delay. And then
How much did you say it sold for?
in 2008, it was purchased by the current owner for $695.
600 plus.
Yeah, $695.
Yeah, the Zillow estimate's $1 million plus.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah, I would guess
That's
that the land is probably worth what they paid for it in 2008.
Yeah.
Which is interesting from an appraisal standpoint, just as a side note, because it means that, oh no, the appraisal is 733 on the town website. So,
Mhm.
but that's in 2018 value, and today's values are going to be markedly different. But what's interesting to me about that is finally, and it's taken this long, we have finally gotten above 2008 values. What? Hello, Peter.
Whoa,
You did it.
that didn't take too many button pushes.
Well, we're very glad to see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank me. Thank me.
Like I said, thank you,
Of
Vicki.
course.
Okay. So, Peter, all you missed, Peter Clement has joined us, and all you missed, Peter, was 2 demolition delays on which we decided to do nothing.
Right, and to which I agree.
Okay, good. So then
Well-
we move to, anything else on 47 Westworth? Okay.
Nope.
So now we move to 31 Chapman Avenue, which is a different kettle of fish entirely, I think. Let me just pull up their stuff. All right. So the 31 Chapman Avenue is. All right. Now I'm going to pull up. I actually have been in this house. I have seen this house, and from I did an appraisal on it in 2017. You know, bank issues prevent me from sharing anything about that appraisal, but I can tell you that it is a seasonal home of good size. I'm pulling it up now. It is a 2,900 square foot home built in 1925 on a 1.02 acre site, so it's a much larger site than is typical for shoreline properties, for shorefront properties. It actually technically is not a waterfront property. Thank you, Maria. It's what you're looking at is from the, Association Beach. So there's an Association Beach between the house and the water. So technically it's not direct waterfront, but in practicality, of course, it is, because you just walk down to the not mandatory Association Beach and you're on the water. So not a big deal. It is an iconic home. It is. We've heard tons of comments about, yep, that's where I sledded when I was a child, and it's just a terrible shame to see this house go. I can share with you my impressions of the house when I saw it. It is certainly seasonal. It's got very, very dated bathrooms. It's got very typical seasonal Madison Beach house interiors, which are actually quite pretty and quite nice. You know, the kitchen and the bathrooms are nothing to brag about. And I'll just share also that this is in like a R5 zone, I think, which means that on a 1 acre site, you could probably, I'm not suggesting this would happen, but you could probably put 3 or 4 homes on this site. So the land is extremely valuable, obviously. I think there's probably enough interest in the community, although I haven't heard anything in particular except people being so sorry that it's going to be demolished, that probably I would suggest that we might do a delay on this one just to give perhaps the Historical Society or any other entity a chance to get in there and document this property before it was demolished. But I don't have any hard information that might happen. I just think that the delay might be worth it just to get in there and take a look at it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Peter, do you know anything about this property?
Yeah, I do. I'm getting an echo on the picture.
That's all right.
It's not really it's the buildable part of the lot is now occupied by the house. Everything else is going to be underwater.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So there you can't build 2 houses on the property.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't think.
Right.
Let me see if I can. So it's I'm going to put the phone away. Not going to help. I've seen some sketches of the proposed replacement, and it's very much in keeping with the gambrel roof, and I don't think people are going to object to it. The house right now is really not usable without major intervention. You come down the back stairs from upstairs and you walk into the back of the refrigerator. It did not adapt well to modern living.
Okay.
It's charming, but I don't think anybody could make it work. So the owner, John Benchy, wants to, he's got plans going that show gambrel roof, which would be pleasing to everybody, I think, because it would be similar to what's there now.
Okay.
The sound is driving me crazy, so I don't know what else to say about it.
No, that's fine, and I understand that completely. It was seasonal when I saw it. It wasn't in great shape when I saw it, and I don't disagree that that it needs, if it were to stay the way it is, stay on its site, it needs tremendous renovation. I'm not sure I agree. I just don't know, and I shouldn't say anything, that you might not be able to squeeze another house on that property. But you're right that much of the site is in wetlands, so that would the 1 acre site is not a totally buildable area. In any case, that doesn't matter to us. Really.
But based upon what Peter said, does it really, should we really be taking an extra 45 days? Or your point was well taken, but according to what Peter's saying, the house is not in shambles, but needs a lot of activity, a lot of work.
Yep. So does mine.
Likewise.
Yeah. No, I understand that. It doesn't change my opinion for a small delay on this thing, just to give us time. It's not a big deal. I mean, you know, the property was purchased in 2018 for a remarkable sum that, as an appraiser, I could never justify, to be honest with you, but that's what it is. Anyway,
Well, I'll make a motion for the 45 days, unless Peter has some additional thoughts, since he sounds like he's very familiar with the property. I would make a motion that we extend it for 45 more days, based upon your comments, Tom. Unless there's a reason that they need to do it sooner, 45 days is, not that long.
given the fact that they've owned it for 4 years already, I don't know if there's any huge hurt. Hi, Susan.
No.
They were trying to sell their house on Middle Beach Road.
Oh, okay.
That's a start of East Wharf that it finally sold.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm sure they're ready to go, but I don't think 45 days is going to kill them.
No.
And I'd like to give, I don't know that we have the, although I would love to go in it again, I don't know that we have the wherewithal to do any kind of documentation, but I have a feeling that the Historical Society, although I don't know this, might be interested in getting in there and taking a look at it. So that's the reason for my just putting the delay in, just to give people a chance. And if they don't, there's no harm, no foul kind of thing. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Well,
Yeah, I agree.
I move that we extend the demolition 45 more days then.
Okay. Any further discussion before I force this through? Anybody else have any input into this? No?
Make sure you state in your motion why you want an extra 45 days.
Sure will. Okay. So you want to restate that motion, Eric?
I move that we extend the demolition 45 more days for this particular property, the 31 Chapman Avenue property.
Okay. I'm going to add to that motion and give the reason for that delay, which is to allow Historical Society or any other entity in town to get in there and document what is in the property, what historical significance it might have, what architectural features it might have that are interesting, and take some photos and so forth. So I'm just amending your motion, and I guess we just need a second now.
Second,
Okay, Carol, let's see, Eric made the motion. Tom added to it. Do you agree with that, Eric?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. And Carol seconded. All in favor of putting forth a demolition delay on this property, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. I will write a very short, what do we have to do, Maria? We do this very rarely. Just send a letter?
There's a additional delay affidavit that would have to be filled out. You have to do it in writing.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And who do I address that letter to? That's what I'm asking, I guess.
You could just put it to the land use office.
Okay, I'll draft that tomorrow. And
Thanks.
just ask for the additional delay to get some more information about the property. How's that?
Yeah, and if I think there's an affidavit, I can send it to you.
Okay, good.
It's an objection to it, is what you're doing.
Yeah, we're doing an objection to the demolition, right?
Yep.
Got it. Yeah, if you would send that to me, that'd be great.
Okay.
And I will take care of that. That's no problem. Okay. Any other comments on this particular property, 31 Chapman Avenue? Nope. Okay. So, the next thing would be to review our minutes from April 25th. Maria, do you have those? I could get to them, but I'm not in that screen anymore.
To the which one? To the what?
April 25th, review and approve minutes is on the agenda.
You want me to put them on the screen?
Would you mind?
Sure.
Thank you. I wrote them, so I know what they say. But everybody else should take a look. It's very short, as I recall. It wouldn't take a second, and I don't want to put it off if we don't have to. Here we go. Oh, this is this is the one. I got promoted on this one. So I think it should say Vice Chairman Thomas Boyle, right? I mean, I guess I was acting chairman at the time. How does that work?
Sounds okay to me.
Yeah, I think that's the only change that I would make is acting chairman Thomas Boyle called it to order. Everything else is exactly as I wrote, so I don't have any problem with this. Anybody else?
looks good to me.
Okay. So I'll make the motion on this one to approve these minutes with the change to making me, Thomas Boyle, the acting chairman in this particular meeting. And other than that, we're all set. Does anybody? So that's my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second,
Oh God, who did that first?
Peter.
Hey,
Peter. Okay. Peter seconded. Motion. All those in favor of approving the minutes as per that motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? That's unanimous, and we're all set there. Okay. That's all we have on the agenda. Is there anything else that anybody would like to bring up?
Well, there was the news that came from Aaron the other day.
Okay.
So through Tom and Carol's efforts and Aaron's efforts, the state approved a grant to fund the research for the old West Elm Street Historic District Study Report in fall.
Yeah, this is very exciting. I was going to talk about this in the next meeting, but I'm more than happy to talk about it now.
Go for it.
And we just found this out, that as a certified local government, and I had no idea that this was going to happen, that the Carol, why don't you say this, because you
Well,
know
I think we
more
should
about
save
that.
it for the next meeting.
Yeah, okay, let's do that. Let's push this off to the next meeting and talk about it then. It's very exciting news, so I want to give it its full import, because it is important. Anything else? Thank you, John, though, for reminding us. Anything else on the Madison Historic District Commission before we close out that one?
Just want to say, Peter, it's nice to have you back. I'm glad to
Yeah.
see you. Better.
Thank you. I almost didn't make it. But my computer is acting funny.
But we can hear you, so that's what's important.
With
As
an
long as,
echo.
as long as you don't get the echo I'm getting. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting it.
It's a little echo, but that's all right. We can. That's not the worst thing that ever happened. Okay, I think we're ready to adjourn. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I move we adjourn the Historic District Commission meeting.
John Lynn moves. A second.
Second.
Eric Berg seconds. And all in favor of adjourning the Historic District Commission meeting at 7:39, say aye.
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 Opposed? That's unanimous, and we are adjourned at 7:39 p.m. Wonderful. Thanks all.
Thanks, Tom.
Okay, so I'm going to move right into the Old Elm Street Historic District Study Committee, and we have a bunch of things to discuss, but nothing earth-shattering. Well, one thing earth-shattering, and so I'm going to call that meeting to order right away if everybody's ready. And so I will call the Old Elm Street Historic District Study Committee meeting to order on June the 27th at 7:39 p.m. And now we have a full complement of people here, so for the purposes of the recording, let's all identify ourselves. I am Tom Boyle.
Susan Cartledge.
Peter Clement. All three of me.
John Lind.
And Eric Berg.
Carol Snow.
It's everybody. Okay. So,
Everybody, Denny.
oh, Danny is not here, I guess. Is he here?
No.
Okay. All right. So, the first item, the second item on the agenda is funding request from. I have from SHPO, but it's actually, I don't know if it is from SHPO. Carol, maybe you can actually discuss that a little bit and give us all this very good news.
It is through SHPO, and we got awarded not just what we asked for, but we got awarded the full sum of $8,500, which means the Madison Historical Society will have to find some other use for its very generous offer of $4,000 or $4,500. I can't remember.
I don't think they're going to be sad.
Yeah, I think they'll find a way to do that. And Aaron Mannix, our town planner, is at the Board of Selectmen meeting tonight as we speak to get the final approval from the town. And then once that happens, SHPO will be sending us a template, because we will have to send out a request for proposal to 3 candidates.
Okay.
And so she's got, it would be Mary Dunn, I believe, is going to send a template and also a list of qualified people who can do the work. I think that, we made our initial contacts just to get some numbers for the grant. So I think we did the right thing to do that. And I think those people can be contacted again. So that's my understanding of the process. I think we want to keep it moving along.
Yeah.
And Aaron didn't seem to see any problem in getting started right away. So.
Yeah, that's really great news. As soon as we get that from Mary Dunn, I will send that RFP to every one of the people on the list, and see what happens. I mean, I don't think it'll change our actual decision, but you never know. I mean, maybe it will,
Yeah, I think we only have to send out 3, Tom, but.
Oh, that's all?
I think. but we'll get more information from Mary Dunn by way of Aaron.
Right, and we have to make sure that 3 people to whom we actually already did this are on that list.
Yes,
That might be important.
right.
But anyway, it's wonderful news, and I actually am completely pleasantly surprised that they decided to fund the whole thing. I didn't know that was a possibility. Did you, Carol?
I did not know that, but I think they were excited that it was our first grant application as a certified local government. And, you know, I guess they have the funding to, they have the money so that they can fund the full amount, which is great.
It's such good news, and I think Carol Snow deserves 100% of the credit for making this happen the way it did, because I certainly didn't know how to do it. And when I read her application for this grant, it reminded me that I really didn't know how to do it. So I am I couldn't thank Carol more for this application and for this result, because it's due to her in large measure that this happened at all. So it's great.
It was fantastic.
I think one point to be made for those people that have been with the commission an extended period of time, that I remember back in the day, and I don't know how many years ago, that we talked about getting approval, getting that certified district.
Certified local government, right?
Local government, and it's nice to know that we, through Carol's most recent efforts, that we got over the finish line with the resumes and all the commentary that had to be submitted. So it's a testament of stick-to-itiveness, I guess.
I just want to add that it was Dave Anderson who helped us in that process, and I kind of just supplied the information. I also want to add that the official name of the grant that we got is the Town of Madison Certified Local Government Historic Preservation Enhancement Grant.
Okay, we'll take it.
So you might see the acronym HPEG.
Is this something we should send to the source?
That was, I'm so glad you brought that up, Susan, because Carol thought that is something that we might have done right away. And that was actually my initial reaction to that was hell yes. But John Lind came up with, I thought, a pretty interesting counterpoint to that. John, why don't you elucidate that?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how I worded it, but my basic concern was I think it's great news and should be celebrated. But at the same time, I was reluctant to put it out there in such a public source and get the anti people motivated to start organizing and trying to shoot this down before we've even given a full chance to explain it to the potential property owners of the historic district. So, you know, some people may read the minutes of, well, some people will read the minutes or attend or watch the Board of Selectmen meeting tonight, and some fewer people may read our minutes. But if it goes into source, even more people will see that, I would think. And so giving the opportunity for the people who are going to be anti this thing more notice to put their views out there and start mobilizing people against us before we've had a chance to actually explain what we're doing to the actual owners, I think is what we want to be cautious of. With the Green Historic District, we were able to, talk to people and have public meetings where we talked about what was going to happen and what it meant, and had question and answer periods, and that worked out pretty successfully. There were two or three owners that really objected to it, but we were able to exclude them from the proposal, and they went on their merry way. Liberty Street, as we know, was a different animal altogether. There was some very active opposition that actively courted other people to join them. And this happened before and during the process of trying to explain what it all meant to people. And so the Liberty Street one, instead of the hope for 40-ish properties, ended up being 13 properties.
Yeah. John, I think your point. John, I think your point is well taken, and it probably a point could be made when we ever have at least one of, I guess, a couple meetings to talk up to make a presentation to the homeowners. That the point could be made that no taxpayer is going to be out any money. That it's we're getting a grant to start the process. So maybe at that particular meeting, a comment could be made. But I think your point's well taken about promoting it early rather than waiting.
Oh, I agree. I mean, everybody's anti everything. I can't stand one more thing.
Good point.
I think you're right about that.
And there will be other opportunities to acknowledge the grant.
Yeah, that's actually what I think too. And I think one, just kind of dovetailing on what John Lynn was saying, is there is a way in which we're actually starting this process really from scratch again. I mean, I'll give you some numbers in a minute about what Eric and I did yesterday, actually. But there's a whole lot of property owners that really don't know anything about this idea and don't have any feeling about it at all, and really need to be educated about it and need to be told about it. And maybe the best thing is not to publicize it right away, but to get more input from them before we do that. And as you said, Carol, we can do this at any time. We don't have to do it now. You probably don't remember, but when we actually started this, there was a newspaper article regarding this. We're talking 10 years ago at least now. But and it didn't cause any trouble. But that was a different time, and I think now is a time when we need to tread a little more carefully. So I would tend to agree with John on this one, and that was not my first reaction. My first reaction was, yeah, let's get it out there because we want people to know. But there's just a lot going on today, and there's a lot of people that so many new owners in this district, in this proposed district, that don't know about it, that I think maybe we should just kind of hold our fire for a while.
Sounds good.
Anybody else have an idea about that? Okay. Anyway, the good news is that it's very good news. We have funding to make this thing happen finally, and we don't have to do it ourselves, which was not going to happen anyway. So, the next item was just assignments and telephone calls, which are pretty much dead in the water. Our attempt to get phone numbers for a lot of these people really failed. We haven't been able to get many. I know that on the next item, Carol and Susan did make some personal visits and found pretty much nobody home, as I recall, right?
Well, yes, but the people we spoke with were very enthusiastic.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I have that email, and I will update our list to that effect. It may be that some of those were already in good shape anyway, so that's great. And I don't think there's been anybody else making personal visits. As I mentioned to Eric, nobody else knows this. I went out by myself. It was so hard for me to figure out. My weekends have been so full lately that I haven't been able to put time to get time to do this without except at the last minute is what I'm trying to get across. So I did go out like 2 weeks in a row for just an hour or so, and I did most of the ones that were on my list that I hadn't talked to, and I had absolutely no luck. I think I maybe talked to one person, and they were already very positive anyway. And I didn't have any leave behinds with me because I went out quickly without a lot of preparation. So I was planning to do this again yesterday on Sunday, and Eric Berg in the meantime called me and said, "Gee, Tom, I haven't heard from you. What's going on?" And I said, "Well, I'm planning to go out tomorrow you want to go with me. So we did actually, I developed a list of, I'll give you the numbers, 22 properties, which were either new people or people that had never responded to any of our efforts. And we made an attempt to visit them. We visited 14 homes. We had, the 14 homes, there were 4 people home, 2 of whom were not owners. And so we talked to 2 owners, is what the bottom line was. Now, the 2 owners that we talked to had no recollection of receiving a letter. They were not negative at all, but of course they didn't have a strong feeling about the about it. They wanted to see more, so we gave them some some information about the local district, and we said that, you know, we're going to have a public meeting in the coming up, and so forth. And we didn't press them on saying, well, what do you think? Are you in? Because I thought that was not appropriate at the time. They didn't really seem to remember getting the letters and so forth. I think actually some people, I think most people just consider these letters junk mail and don't open them, to be honest with you. But that's okay. We have to do it. I mean, it's not a problem. Anyway, so we got 2 owner discussions out of that were not negative. We did leave material at all the homes that we visited, and so that's a second chance for them to take a look at what we're trying to do, and that was good. And we just have to keep going after this, I think, in terms of personal visits. But it does beg the question, I think, that we're going to need to have some kind of a public meeting kind of sooner rather than later, to get people on board and to get people educated. Just to go back to the funding thing for a minute, this seems like an opportunity to send another letter, understanding that not everybody's going to read them, to say that we have received that funding. I mean, it's a good excuse to get a letter out in front of people. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm going to cobble one together quickly, I think, because I'd like to get it out quickly. It's been already April was when the last letter went out, and I wanted to do them once a month and haven't gotten to it. But I will put together a letter just saying that we've gotten the funding for the study report, and we still want to hear from you, and we still want to be in touch with you, and so forth. And so I'll do that. Eric Berg today sent me an idea that I should have thought of before and did not, which is, as we make personal visits, and I intend to continue to do that, and just hopefully we can find somebody at home once in a while. But as we make those and leave behind information in people's doorknobs kind of thing, we can leave a questionnaire perhaps, and that says, what do you think about this idea? I'm just generalizing now, with a envelope in it that they can send back, and it's like a 3-question questionnaire. They can send back with an email address or a phone number or something. What do you think of this idea? And I think that's a very good idea. I think Eric gave me a draft of that questionnaire, which I'm not going to bother to share with you online now, but I will. I'll send a copy of it to everybody by email. And I think the wording might need to be tweaked a little bit on the questionnaire, but I think it's a really good idea. And I wouldn't mind going door to door with every house. And if I don't get in to talk to somebody, leave that thing. So maybe we can get some phone numbers and some emails and some feedback. So I think that's a good next step, and I think we should do that. So I'll send the questionnaire just in draft form now to everybody, and then please it's a first draft. So if you have an idea about it, let me know what it is, and we can discuss that by email. And if we come to a decision, we can get that ready to go for more personal visits. All right. So that brings us to a public meeting. I think, I said this before, but I'll just say it again quickly. I'd like to do a meeting at my home, and like a picnic kind of meeting. I couldn't find anything in the regulations that said that wasn't a public meeting. So I'll ask Aaron Mannix to just make sure that that could qualify as one. And even if it doesn't, I'd like to do it anyway, honestly, just to get people to come and get information. I'd like to keep it rather informal and not as formal as we have done in the past. And I'd like to maybe not make it so any naysayers speak up right away and kind of say in my remarks in this meeting, and this is off the top of my head here, but I'm just thinking we could do a very brief introduction to what our vision of this local historic district is, and say, if you have any questions, and you don't need to speak about them now, you could ask any of us. Now, of course, invite all the members of the study committee to this, and we'll identify ourselves. Please ask us and talk to us about it, and negative or positive. We really need to hear from you. And that way, if we have that kind of a picnic or gathering, we can also put a list out and say, who arrived and what's your email address and what's your phone number and so forth. And it's just another way to get the neighborhood together, which is how I'm going to present it, honestly, because I think that's probably a good way. First, welcome to the neighborhood for all these new owners. I mean, there's 18 new owners in the last 4 years in this. That's a lot in this 52 property district or proposed district. So I think that's maybe a good idea. And then as time goes on, we can have another meeting, perhaps more formal if we need to. But I think that might be the way to go. I don't know what anybody else thinks about that.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that getting a date is better sooner than later. We're already July.
Yep.
1, and then we ought to talk a moment about how to kind of formalize this. Just the committee chip in some money so you're not encumbered to pay for this, Tom. We ought to at least have a brief discussion of what goes on in if you're using your property, what goes on during that period of time.
Oh, that's fine. I hadn't even thought about that, honestly, and was just intending to kind of do that ourselves. But sure, if you'd like to contribute, absolutely fine. That would be no problem. And I was going to keep it very simple, honestly, and serve soft drinks and I mean, I don't know. We could do a barbecue. We could just do finger food. We could do something like that, and also make it an open-ended thing where we said we're going to have this picnic between, and I'm making it up, 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Please stop by if you'd like, and if you want to spend 10 minutes with us, great. If you want to spend 2 hours with us, wonderful. That kind of thing. That's what I was thinking of. Keeping it quite informal.
Tom, I did mention it to Erin Mannix today in another meeting I had with her, and she thinks it's a good idea too. So,
oh, great. Okay.
But do reach out to her, and just whenever we figure more out, maybe.
Yeah.
Nothing sophisticated. Maybe lemonade or soda.
Or ice cream.
Yep. Oh, that's even better.
You don't want daiquiris?
What John say? I missed that.
Daiquiris.
No, I think that was Peter.
I have lots of mint if we want to
my
make
voice.
I'm writing down daiquiris, by the way.
And mint juleps.
There you go.
I have a whole bed of mint.
And we can do beer and wine. I mean, it isn't any big deal. And we can invite anybody that wants to come with their children, although there aren't actually a great many families with young children, although somebody did move in across the street with young children, so that's nice. Yeah, everybody can come. I mean, that's fine. Make it quite informal, and I've just written down all those things you said, and we can embellish that. Doe and I, my wife and I, have a busy schedule this summer. We just have a bunch going on, so I'm going to try to pick out some dates with her, because I do have to get her permission for this.
Well, Tom, why don't you come up with a date?
Yeah,
I really think it should be low key. If drinks and pretzels or chips and so forth, so that it's really very low key. The whole idea is just to get together and meet people.
Yes, exactly right. That's what I thought exactly. So let me do that. I'll float some dates to everybody after I talk to Doe and see if she's in agreement with this because we have talked about it, but we hadn't formalized anything. And
Yeah,
then,
I think less is more as far as food is concerned. Because people are going to be coming at different times and you're going to have to stop to make hamburgers and do that. I think it should just be, wine and wine. And chips or cheese and
Chips.
crackers.
I think maybe
Exactly.
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. And pretzels.
That's
Yeah.
good. So I don't have to barbecue. That's all.
Right.
Finger food kind of thing. Yeah. No, I agree, Susan. I think you're right. Okay. Let me have a discussion with my wife about it, and I will get back to everybody with some possible dates, and hopefully, we'll come up with a time when almost everybody can come because I need you all there. And
Right.
then we'll see. I think we might get a pretty good turnout. Those kinds of things tend to bring people over, especially to meet their neighbors, kind of thing. So usually people enjoy that.
And
So
your house is
how
pretty
I'm gonna
wonderful.
picture it. But I mean, we have to say it's also about the local historic district. But
Right.
it's going to be for neighbors to get together and to talk about the historic district, that kind of thing. John, what do you think? I remember going to a meeting at George Sterling's house. Yeah, now we're talking 10 or 12 or more years ago. That was very informal. Was that a public meeting? I guess it was.
It was. Invitations went out to the property owners of all the proposed properties that we were
Right.
considering at the time. I think we had 2 or 3 of those type of meetings for that one. There was at least 2 anyway. And we had a presentation that we made, and there was a significant time for questions and answers. And so people asked questions. And so kind of went through that. I think this all happened while the report was being done. So we didn't have the report yet. It was in process. So we didn't have to wait for the report before we started having these public meetings. But we basically said, we're looking at, this is kind of the broad base of the boundaries that we're considering. Explained that every property within the district has to be adjacent, and get that understanding. Then sort of what the implications are of all of that for the state statute and for our regulations and guidelines. We now have 2 other historic districts that we can refer to and talk about. This is what's happened in those districts since they were approved by the owners. And so we can do that. So yeah, I think it's a good idea, and I think it's probably worth having some sort of, presentation that we make to the group of people and have a question and answer period, but also allow for more casual, one-on-one discussions or questions or things like that.
Yeah.
Another thing I was going to say, I think if I recall, it's been a long time, so I could be wrong, but I think we actually used town envelopes that said the town of Madison on them when we sent stuff out. And I think people will more likely open something that actually says it came from the town rather than, just an envelope that might look like, junk mail or solicitation mail of some sort.
Yeah.
So I think
that's actually a very good point, and I hadn't thought of it.
Yeah, I think that's something we can do. Certainly when it comes to like an invitation to meetings like this, so people are more likely to open it and see what it is.
We have to check with Aaron Mannix on this one.
Yeah,
But I think it's a great idea. I agree with you.
Yeah,
The tax bills have already gone out.
Yeah, I'm like 90% sure we did it on town envelopes when we sent stuff out previously regarding the earlier ones. Obviously, the ballots went out under town postage.
Sure.
Because that's required. What else was I going to say? I
If
know,
we're-
there's something else I was gonna say, but I've forgotten what that is now, so when it
If
comes back to
we're-
me, I'll speak up.
If we're permitted that, we should do it. I agree. The invitation to your the date that you choose, Tom. I think it's very appropriate.
Yeah, no, I do too. And you know, it's funny because we do use the town letterhead, but I just kind of appropriated. But I mean, we are a town committee, so it's okay. But but having the town envelope does make a difference. I agree with you, John, and I hadn't thought of that before. But it
Yeah.
might help people tossing it, you know. And,
Yeah, I mean, you get a few more people at least open it. What they do after they open it is you know, it's hard to control that, but they might actually
Yeah,
get
no,
a few more. Oh, the other, I know what it was. The
We're
other
asking
thing,
people if they'd received it, and nobody that we talked to had any recollection of it. I'm figuring that they maybe didn't just tossed it, you know. So no, I agree with you. Yeah. All right,
the
we'll
other-
ask Aaron that if we can do that.
yeah, the other thing I was going to say was, yeah, we can hold this as a public meeting. It just has to be properly notified for the way public meetings are noticed.
Okay.
We can do it at your property or somewhere else. It doesn't have to strictly be in a town office space. It just has to be publicly noticed and open to anyone who wants to come.
Oh, is
And
that how it works? Okay.
Yeah, and then we send invitations to the people that we think this may affect.
Okay.
Specifically, we don't need to send invitations to anybody else, but if someone else is interested, wants to come, they can.
Well, in fact, I mean, I forget why. I think it was one of the members of the proposed district, the Green District, said to us, because they're friends, that you should come to this too, and it was no problem. I mean, we came to that meeting. We weren't in that district or in that proposal, but I asked that. I mean, yeah, I remember distinctly saying, "How about extending it, maybe?" And you guys have enough to do without doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, I didn't realize about the public notice, but that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. and
Yeah,
we can
so
do that.
there's no problem having a public meeting outside of the town offices somewhere else. You just
Okay.
have to notify it properly.
And Maria can help us with that, right?
Yeah, I think so, Maria.
No, what? I'm sorry, I was just sending Tom the objection form. I didn't hear what you said about having a meeting outside of the office.
We're talking
Yeah, so
about having a public meeting at perhaps at like a picnic kind of style at my house on the Post Road. And John mentioned that it needed to be noticed to the public if it was going to be a public
Yes.
meeting. And you could help
Yes.
us with that. That's all.
It would have to be noticed
Yeah.
properly.
Okay. And since you do that all the time and I don't, then you're the right person. Good. Okay, anyway, thank you, John. That's actually very good information because I had forgotten about it entirely. So that makes perfect sense. Okay, let me get some dates to you, and hopefully we can get this thing going. And I will do that, and I will get that questionnaire thing to everybody also. Just take a look at it, and any input is very appreciated. Okay, anything more on the public meeting?
No.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is Barbary Farm, which is important to us. I mean, so here's the situation. This is public knowledge now. It's been the developer has gone to the planning and zoning. Is it commission or agency, Carol?
Commission.
Commission. The inland wetlands is an agency, actually, I think.
That's right.
Just to be correct. So the developer has gone to, and I know I mentioned this last time, and I'm just going to reiterate a little bit, has gone to made a preliminary kind of non-mandatory kind of presentation to the planning and zoning, at which time it is under contract. There's a contract for 12 acres of Barbary Farm property that runs north and south along Stony Lane to Fort Path Road. 12 acres on which the developer is proposing they put 22 homes, which changes the character of the farm substantially, of course. So I saw that on the town website. I sent that map to one. We have dear friends that live on Stony Lane, so I sent it to them, and I sent it to my across the street neighbor, who's very, very interested in conservation and so forth. And that was the first step. The Stony Lane people had heard rumors and had gotten some information, but they didn't know that it was as far along as it was. And the Stony Lane people immediately started to have meetings among the 5
Yeah.
or 6 properties there, and they actually invited me to
I'm
those
in my
meetings.
meeting, but go ahead.
So we I have been privy to their feelings about this property, which are not happy. They're losing their farm view. It's changing their entire view of how they've lived for the past, in some cases, 20, 30, 40, and 50 years. So they are going forward with some objections to the property, and I'll leave that to them to go public with that, because they are going to go public with it. And they have retained, or I think they're going to retain an attorney to try to get some changes. I did sit with at a meeting with the residents of Stony Lane and the resident of Mr. Katz, which is the old Dietry house on, I want to get this right for the record. Sorry. God, where is it? Anyway, it's on the post road, right across the street of Stony Lane from the Barbary Hill Farm, and the man's name is Alan Katz, and he lives at 363 Boston Post Road. And so he is the one that we're most interested in, because he would be a member of the proposed district. But my position, and I said this to I went to this developer's meeting, who described this gorgeous subdivision that they're going to put in, which he thought was great. And I said, I'm gonna, I'm here at the express invitation of the property owners on Stony Lane. I also am a member of the Historic District Commission. I'm also the chair of the local historic district that's proposed for this, and I'd love to have another meeting with you to talk about those things, and perhaps we can get a way that you would join our local historic district, or at least be in agreement with it. And they were, of course, said yes. Oh yes, well, we have to have a meeting with it. Who knows what this really means? But I think it's important probably to continue that discussion with them. And if nothing else, if we can get the same kind of thing that happened at the General's residence, where in the end they agreed to run all their plans by the Historical Society, great. Maybe we can get that. But maybe we can get them to be members of the local historic district. I'm not convinced we can get the owners of Barbary Hill Farm right now to be as interested in this. That's okay. I mean, we're just going to continue to work on this thing. So I just wanted to update everybody here about that, to know, so you knew what was going on. There is it's all public meetings. Keep your eye on the town websites. There's going to be they already had an inland wetland preliminary meeting at which nothing was decided, except that they were going to have another meeting on August the 1st, which is going to be the formal meeting, and the town is going to hire their own people to look at their proposal, because they are close to wetlands and close to the Neck River on one side, and they need a modification of the inland wetland regulations in order to go forward. That modification has happened in the past, so it's not terribly unlikely that it would happen again. But that's going to be a public meeting, and at which there could be public input. So I would urge all of you to watch that, and if you wanted to give input, certainly you could. I intend to be at that August 1st meeting. I think it'll be a Zoom meeting, although I'm not sure yet. Anyway, so that's where it sits right now. I mean, it is moving forward. There is no question about that. The other thing, and the last thing I'll mention here, and I know I'm talking a lot, is that while the immediate application to the preliminary application to the town was for the strip of land north and south along Stony Lane. At the meeting that I attended, someone asked, I've heard that you, the developer, also has an option on the remaining land of Barbary Farm, and the answer to that was yes, we do. So what that means is that, and that's in our local historic district proposal too. So what that means is that in the future there could be not only that subdivision or that cluster housing development, but another one on Barbary Farm, the remaining 5 or 6 acres that is there. So that's also important to us to know. So I think we should all be very, very apprised, and not maybe more than a little worried, because I'd hate to see that farm go away. Now, I'm sorry, I said that was the last thing I was going to say. It's not. I'm going to say one more thing, which is that Kelly and Kingsley, I forgot her last name, I forgot. Kingsley Goddard and his wife Kelly have been on that farm forever. They have worked themselves to the bone on that farm, and they have been friends of ours and acquaintances and friends of ours for a very long time. And I have absolutely nothing but respect for Kelly and Kingsley. I mean, my second daughter was married on that farm, so it's not like we don't know it pretty well, because we do. Anyway, they are, they have family members that need to have that farm monetized, and I understand that completely, and that's why they're going forward with this. And I don't hold any. I mean, my issue is with my issues are with the developer, 1, and 2, the rest of the farm. We'd love to see it stay just like it is forever if we can. So that's the last thing I'll say is it's very important that there is absolutely no animosity on my part anyway to the owners of the farm, and we still want to, we want them to be part of our local historic district. That's what this is about. Okay, so sorry, long-winded, but I was just trying to update everybody on what's going on there. Any questions or anything else I can help you with on this one?
Well, thanks for the update, Tom. I did know about the option on the rest of the farm.
Yeah, I didn't know until that meeting myself.
Yeah.
I'd heard a rumor, but I didn't believe it. But the developer absolutely confirmed that.
Right.
So it's there. Actually, what they is now, they say they're under contract to buy this piece for the 22 homes. I think that actually is an option also to purchase that, and it runs out soon, but they'll extend it because they will. But this will take some time. I mean, they're not going to get this to happen immediately.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, that's the story. That's the Barbary Farm update that's all I know about it, and I'm going to continue. They keep inviting me to these meetings, so I'm going to continue to go to them. And
I made a comment to you, Tom. I wonder how the group feels that I thought that Barbary Farm issue could be to our advantage, our study committee district, and I wondered how people felt about it. In essence, of kind of use our district to kind of tie the neighborhood together, and I may not be articulating, but I just thought that would be a positive for us. I wonder how the group felt about it.
I have an opinion, but I'd rather hear everybody else's first.
Yeah, Eric, I think it may help mobilize other people in the immediate vicinity to want to join a historic district in that location. I don't know if Kingsley and Kelly will be as comfortable joining at this point, if given that they're considering selling it and don't want to risk the sale failing because the developer backed out because he didn't want to be part of historic district. But I think that's also, if we can persuade the developer on the other property to participate in the historic district, maybe they'll be okay with the other property.
I just met the 52 homeowners that were trying to get part of our district. It'd be more of a collective community. I may not be articulating it, but I just, that would be my sense, that that's all the more reason to have our district reenacted, I guess is what I was trying to get to.
Yeah, I think there's a good possibility that may be true with the other owners. Yes. The challenge is keeping the farm within the district and wanting to be in the district. I think that becomes a challenge with it potentially being up for sale. I think, we've tried in the past to not include districts that really didn't want to be in the district. So we excluded some properties in both districts that we did accommodate. The farm we could potentially exclude it, but I would hate to have to do that. We could be. It takes 2/3 of the owners to vote in favor for it to be approved on the ownership side, and then the Board of Selectmen also has to subsequently approve that. So it's possible to have one property or a couple properties within a district where the owners voted no, and we still have more than 2/3, and then it's up to the Board of Selectmen to say yes or no, and whether or not that the parties that voted no are willing to fight in an effort to persuade the Board of Selectmen to vote no also. I don't know. I think like all the owners, we're just going to have to talk to as many people as we can and try and persuade them that this is a good idea and that it really doesn't have, it really has positive consequences, not negative consequences. And hopefully we can persuade as many people as possible that this is a good idea, and we can have a district which includes the farm and other properties.
Therein does lie the problem. It's actually a delicate situation, which is the reason that I understand, Eric, your feelings exactly, and I think you might get a lot of people in the proposed district that say, oh yeah, I want to join that because I don't want to see that farm go away. But in fact, you also might get a few that feel the other way. And I can tell you that a couple people, public record again, put in letters of approval for the subdivision to the Planning and Zoning Commission. If you look at the response to that, to those people was, yeah, the two people that did it are nowhere near the farm, so they wouldn't see it, or nowhere near the new development, so they wouldn't see it. Okay, I get it. In other words,
that was a thought. It was a thought.
It's a thought that makes sense. It just has to be handled very carefully.
Right.
That's all. I'm a little nervous about it, and my usual instinct when something has to be handled very carefully is to keep my mouth shut. But we can continue this discussion. It's not going to go away, and it's very important. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the map, and I quickly counted. If you stopped the local historic district at Barbary Hill Farm and maybe extend it a little bit farther on the south, you'd end up with about 20 properties instead of 52, which I would take. I'm not complaining about that, but I would love to see it if we could get everything in there, you know. So
Well, the other thing too, Tom, yeah, a couple things. One of which is if we got every property south of the farm to say yes, then we could include properties east and west of the farm on the north side of the road.
Correct.
As long as we have a contiguous property.
Right.
We've done that. We did that on Liberty Street. We did that on the Green.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. But I think, you know, the bottom line really, and it's true of all 52 properties, is we want to try and make as compelling a case to all of those property owners that this is a good thing for them and for the community at large. And I think that's how we try and move this forward. I think it's probably not in our interest to try and pit one owner against another owner, but try and persuade all the owners that this is a good thing. And I think that's what we've tried to do in the previous districts. And I think that's what we have to do here. And just, you know, in this case, you know, the owners are going to have different interests and concerns. And we just have to try and, as best we can, show them how being in the historic district would actually benefit them and their property and the community at large, whatever their specific interests might be.
I totally agree with that, and I just think we have to handle it relatively carefully. That's all. We have to really take this one small step at a time and be as gentle and as careful as we can with it. But I don't disagree with anything you said. I think you're right, and I know that we can miss a property, you know, one property on the either side of the post road as long as we've got everything around it. But I know also that they don't like it. They don't want to see chock-a-block kinds of, I forget what they call it, but there's a word for it. They don't want to see a lot of properties missing along it, even if the rest are contiguous. You know, they want to see the bulk of properties being in the wider area being in the district. Am I right about that?
Yeah, as much as possible, but as long as we have a continuous line on one side of the road and that line can cross the road and come back, you know, it can be kind of zigzag as long as all the properties are connected directly by an adjacent property that's within the district, whether it's left and right or across the street.
Okay.
Either one.
Okay. So that leaves
you have to have some connection.
Yep, got it. Okay. Anything else on Barbary Farm? Anybody else want to talk about that?
I guess the other this is off the top of my head, and it actually may not make sense, and maybe it's even a bad idea, but let's put it out there for consideration. Is Stony Lane something we should consider including?
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Maybe it's what's that?
I said thank you very much for bringing that up. One of the residents of Stony Lane, when we started this X number of years ago, who is actually one of the people that's, you know, very much wanting to have input into this new thing, wrote me a letter when we started saying we would like to see you include Stony Lane in this local historic district because it's all mid-century homes is what it is, and that would be wonderful for you to do it. He's an attorney who works in New York, and he's very much involved in preservation in New York City. And he's a very nice man. And at the time, I said, that sounds great, but I thought we had plenty on our plate at that time and thought that maybe that would be too much.
Yeah.
But I think that may be something that we could consider, John. It's very interesting that you thought of it because you're not the only one that did, and one of the residents of Stony Lane thought of it. And my guess would be that the other residents of Stony Lane might be very interested in that because it would give them a little bit more
control.
Yeah, it could. Yeah. because then every house across the street from them is in their view, is something that they could think about. So I don't think that's a bad idea. I think it's, again, something that needs to be presented relatively cautiously. But
Yeah.
but it's, yeah.
So does Kingsley and Kelly still own the development property on Stony Lane then? That's just currently an option, right?
It is what they said it was an option at the meetings in their application to planning and zoning. They said it was a contract, that they had a contract for that property. There has been no closing. In other words, the developer does not own that property yet.
Right. So technically only the owner can vote.
Right. Right.
But the votes is probably sometime next year, I'm guessing,
Yeah.
because we'll get the report and everything together before
We're a ways away. They were
Yeah.
the Stony Lane residents were unhappy to hear that we were, we were at least a year, if not longer, away from actually bringing a local historic district to fruition. That
Yeah.
nothing they can use right away, but they were looking for things to use.
Yeah.
So.
Here's a question. Maybe you know this from what the meeting. So the development is cluster housing kind of thing, right?
Correct, and it is allowed by the
Yeah.
There are regulations that allow this.
So are the houses part of call it a condominium complex, or are the houses individual plots of land privately owned by each?
It would have to be condominium.
Okay, so the whole
There's not enough space to make it otherwise. Although they will have individual septic systems, which I was amazed at.
Hey, Tom and
Right.
John, if I could just interrupt.
Sure.
I think we had gone over some of this with an email between you and Aaron, and I just want to make it clear in case anybody's lost. The application has not been formally presented to planning and zoning yet.
Right.
They just kind of gave a heads up that this project might be coming down the pike. So it is scheduled to have a public hearing with the Wetlands Commission, and the Inland Wetlands Agency would have to make the referral. So, as far as talking about Stony Lane or anything in the, expanded historic district you'd like to, involve in your commission, that's fine. But getting an in-depth, I think Aaron wanted to try to avoid without having the people who are doing the project be able to speak on behalf of, on their behalf. With questions.
Mhm.
So, an update I think is sufficient to say that it's going to public, to go to public hearing with wetlands. But other than that, there's not a lot on the website. There's nothing on the planning and zoning that's an application yet.
Understand that completely, and I tried to make clear that it was a preliminary discussion with planning and zoning. So if I didn't make that clear, it's my fault. But understand that completely, and we're really at the end of the conversation on Barbary Farm anyway.
Tom, last question. How many homes are on Stony Lane?
6.
6?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Well, 6 if you count the home on the Post Road. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 6 homes.
Thanks.
Yep. Anyway, that was really an update. I just wanted to let everybody know what was going on, and it will impact this our local historic district proposal, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. And that was really all I wanted to talk about. So Maria, your comments are very well taken and understand completely. And I think that's really what we had anyway for this. So this will continue, this discussion, and we can go for it, further. And I urge all of you to stay attuned to the planning and zoning agenda, upcoming agendas, and the inland wetlands agendas, just so you're informed about this as members of the town as well as members of the study committee. So the next one was this is the Winter Club, which is at 251 Boston Post Road, which is really at the very western end of the complex, and has already mentioned to us that they didn't think they'd be very interested in being part of this local historic district, which is fine. I didn't expect them to be. But I did have just a question. It's actually, I'm just going to bring it up. If nobody wants to respond to this, it's perfectly okay with me. But it is a public record that, and there's a sign in front of that that Eric and I saw when we just were on our personal visits kind of thing. But I did notice on the town website that in the planning and zoning minutes that they had that the owners of the Winter Club had requested a change in the zoning regulations to allow restaurants in that location, and that was denied, as I saw. So Carol, if you can talk about this, I wouldn't mind hearing just a little update because it's in our district, but if you can't, I certainly understand.
Yeah, I think the minutes, record what the transaction was, that it did go before planning and zoning, and it would have been a zoning change. And so the concern was, perhaps this restaurant is a good idea, but we wouldn't know if that restaurant failed, what would be coming next. So it was turned down.
Okay, that's all I wanted. That's what I thought, actually, just from reading the minutes. That's exactly what it sounded like. And I just happened to see it. I wasn't looking for it. And I was a little bit surprised. I didn't know that had happened. So anyway, that's where we are in the Winter Club. I mean, who knows what will happen with that in terms of our district. There is the house next to the Winter Club on the north side. Its address is Stonewall Lane. It's a lovely antique home that I would love to have in this district. So that's the reason mostly the reason I'm interested in keeping the Winter Club on the list and so forth. But who knows if that will actually happen. And of course, the house across the street at 248 Boston Post Road is another reclaimed antique that again has been beautifully restored. And it's a perfect gateway kind of thing to the local historic district. So that's why I'm interested in both of those. And I'm interested in the Winter Club itself, which I guess everybody knows is on the market, and they did. I just wanted to pass on the fact that zoning request they made was denied. Anyway, that's boy, that was a lot. That's everything I have. Oh, do we have minutes to look at? Maria, I'm sorry, could you put them up if we have any? Poor thing is bored to death now. Can't say I blame her. Yeah.
There are minutes for the April 25th meeting.
We should have minutes. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I wrote these again, so I don't have anything. And I actually am the chairman of this committee, so that one's right. And there's some Barbary Farm stuff on that one too. Yep. Anybody see anything they need to change on the minutes? I don't. I'll make a motion myself then to approve the minutes from the April meeting as they are written. Can I get a second?
Second?
Who's that, Carol?
Yep.
All in favor of approving the minutes from the April meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Unanimous. So the minutes are approved. Anything else? Any other items anybody would like to talk about? I know it's been a long meeting. Okay. I owe you guys a bunch of things. I will get them to you. I will do everything we talked about. I'll do that demolition delay. I will get some dates for you for the for a meeting. I will get the questionnaire to you that I promised, and we'll just continue to move forward on this. But I just want to say at the end, very exciting. We got funding for the study report that we've been going for a very long time. So it's really good news. And once again, Carol Snow deserves
Thank you, Carol.
a lot of credit. Yeah.
My pleasure.
But I think there should be a correction, Tom. You mentioned Eric. I assume that questionnaire was from Eric Axberg. It was not from me.
No. The questionnaire that you sent me this afternoon, I'm talking about. You didn't send it to me?
The answer is, to my recollection, I did not.
Eric Berg. I'll send you the email back. It's okay.
Okay. Well, I'm probably another senior moment. There are many.
No, it could have been Eric Axberg. I just assumed it wasn't, but that's fine. We will. I will correct that if I'm wrong.
The mystery of Eric.
That's all right. Anyway, very good. Anything else that anybody wants to talk about? Then I will take a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Everybody. Who was that? John Lynn first, I guess. And the second?
A second.
There's no dearth of people seconding. Okay, I'm going to say Carol on that one.
It was Susan.
Oh, Susan, I'm going to say. Susan seconded. All in favor of adjourning the meeting of the, where am I? The Old Elm Street Historic District Study Committee? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. We are adjourned as of 8:44 p.m. on, what's today? June 27th. Thanks everybody so much for going through this long meeting with us.
Welcome
Thanks,
back,
Tom.
Peter.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Yeah,
Peter.
Welcome
Yeah.
back. Absolutely.